Hello, my name is Nuri Santana Bautista, and I'm going to talk about metaphysical poetry movement. So we can start talking about this term because metaphysical poetry in these years it was very important. Metaphysical poetry was an its peak during the 17th century in England and continental Europe, and the movement explored everything from irony to philosophy and concepts. It is for its complex and original concepts that most metaphysical poems are not. The word metaphysical used by writers such as John Dryden and Samuel Johnson in regards to the poets of the 17th century. These poets are known for their unnaturalness. Johnson wrote in Life of the most eminent English poets in the late 17th century. The race of writers had appeared that might be termed metaphysical poems. John Donne and along with a similar but distinct poems so are George Herbert, Andrew Marvell, and Henry Bagon developed a poetic style in which philosophical and spiritual subjects and they approached with reason and often concluded in a paradox. This group of writers established medication based on the union of the thought and feelings thought after the sweet initial meditation as a poet mode. It is because of this writing that many writers who can after took some all of the features of metaphysical writing. Some characteristics of metaphysical poetry, one of the most prominent characteristics of this movement is the spoken quality of the poetry. Something that many other writers of that time did not approve of. Other common features include the use of colloquial addition, physical exploration, new and original conceit, irony, and relays use of the matter. And some characteristics here, that is the group of metaphysical poets that we mentioned before. Early, it is also not the only poets or philosophers, or rather more specific characteristic and prompted Johnson to place the 17th century's poets together. Perhaps the most common characteristic is that metaphysical poetry contains large doses of wit, and in fact, although the poets spread examining serious questions about the existence of God or whether a human could possibly perceive the world, the poets pressure to ponder and this question with humor. Metaphysical is one great or to analyze metaphysical poetry is to consider how the poems are about both truth and feelings. And think about it, how could you possibly write a poem about the existence of God that I said before if you didn't have some emotional reaction to such enormous. So here John's Donnan is the first one in this movement because it was the most influential metaphysical poet. His personal relationship with the spiritual is the center of his work, and the physiological analysis and sexual realism of this work make a dramatic departure from traditional gentle verse. His early work called and satires and song and sonnets was released in an era of religion or oppression. Donne founder John Donne, founder of metaphysical poetry. Some example about this movement. Here is the Fleet by John Donne. And the Fleet is one of the most commonly cited examples of a metaphysical poem. It is also one of Donne's best. The poem makes a familiar argument in a very original way. The Collar by George Herbert. The Collar is one of Herbert's best-known poems. In this poem, the poet speaks about the color that Christian priest is reconciled by. It's interesting to know that Herbert was a priest himself. He the pigs and the color of something that priestry wants be done in an intolerant way. So another poems that is the retreat by Henry Buchan. In the retreat, the poet describes the loss of innocence as one grows older. This process takes one father away from heaven and into the corporate state and adulthood. As adult, one of the unable to accept the divine word and insolence. And the colloquial diction is conversational because in nature and it can be seen to the use of informal words that represent a specific place or time. The metaphysical was a movement in this epoch. It was very, very important for the poets because we find a lot of word difference in natural things. If you want to know about this movement, you can visit this link here and know about everything and some characteristics mean about this movement. Thank you.